How are we doing today? I have here an A session. Hi everyone. Hi Glow Jane. How are you doing today? Let me just pin my comments. Hi Diskin Store. Hi Desire. How are you doing? Thanks for joining my Instagram live. How has the day been so far? Hope it's been a good day. Hi everyone. Welcome. I hope you can hear me well because I'm using an AirPod. Just let me know if you can hear me. Hello. Hi Theo. Hi Imose. Nice. I'm doing well too. I'm good. I'm excited for this Instagram live session. Yeah, I'm very excited for it. My day has been good. I spent the earlier part of today preparing a bit for the session, doing a bit of work. And yeah, I went shopping as well, grocery shopping today. But it's been a good day. I think the weather today was fairly warm, not as cold as the previous, the earlier days of the week, but it was a good weather. Let's just wait for like a minute for more people to join us before we start. So what are you looking forward to from this session? Just let me know what's like the one thing you would like to know from this session. Why did you join the session? What's the one thing you're looking forward to getting from this session? Hi everyone, welcome. If you have questions while I'm, taking answers to the questions that others had dropped on my posts, just feel free to put in your questions in the comments and I will do my best to answer your questions. All right, so we can get started. Welcome to my first Instagram live Q&A. I'm very excited to get to do this. I just thought that it would be a very nice time to interact with my audience and get to answer questions in real time, questions that you may have about freelancing, about starting a tech career, or anything at all about my journey, anything that you may be interested in knowing. I felt it would be nice to come on here and answer a couple questions. All right, so I'm going to start. Remember that you can always drop your questions in the comments below. So let's start by answering this first question. This person says, how do you manage doing a couple of stuffs together? Work, freelancing, content creation, podcast, and probably maintaining a healthy lifestyle. So when I saw this question, I just smiled because it's a very good question. And for me, I feel like I do lots of things. People that know me probably know that I'm doing, like, it's not just the freelance HQ I have. I have run a podcast as well. I work sometimes as a freelancer and also have a full-time job, creating content on Instagram. Managing all of this is not easy, but one thing I'll say is I'm usually very intentional about my time. So everyone has 24 hours in a day, but for me, one thing I do is I ensure that I'm not just whiling away my time. I'm very intentional about what I do. So I tend not to allow distractions. I think earlier in the year, we all know how social media can be very distracting. Like you click on a post and from there you go on to another post, you go on to another post and you realize that you just wanted to spend like 5 minutes, right? And you spent like 20 minutes on, social media. So for me, earlier in the year, I had to uninstall Twitter from my phone because I found out that Twitter was very distracting for me. I also uninstalled Instagram, interestingly, earlier in the year, and this really helped me to focus. So I'll say I'm very jealous about my time. I'm focused on what I need to do part time. I also tend to I always use a to-do list. Hi everyone, thanks for joining. I always use a to-do list, so most of the time I tend to chunk, what I have to do into different parts. So, for example, starting the week, I may say I need to do 4 huge things. But if I don't write down in a to-do list, I use Trello to track my tasks. So if I don't write down in a to-do list, I realize that I just start the week and I'm just like floating and just doing anything randomly. So I use a to-do list to maintain my schedule. I also chunk things down into different segments. So what I mean by this is that as much as I'm working on my podcast, I don't work on my podcast all through the week, right? So what I do is I schedule, I pick a particular month to shoot all my podcast videos. So last month I recorded most of my podcast episodes. A few are still left for this month, but I recorded a large chunk of my episodes last month. So this helps me so that when it's being released, this the number of episodes I've recorded can last me for about maybe 2 months, and then that 2 months I'm working on something else. So those are some of the ways I maintain my schedule despite doing a lot of things, limiting social media, using a to-do list app. And I also tend to get as much help as I need, because at the end of the day, there's only so much I can do. So right now, I work with a video editor that works on my podcast videos. I have people that help out with my social media and my podcast management. So getting as much help really helps me. Getting as much help really helps me streamline my focus into things I need to do. And really I also do not want to be overly spiritual, but one thing I believe is that if God has called you to do something, He'll give you the grace to do it. And for me, I believe that God has called me to do all these things I'm doing. So I just lean into Him for the grace and the wisdom to know what to focus on per time. And really, I just take things one step at a time. And I actually sleep well. I try my best to sleep well. So I'm not one to say, oh, I need to grind, I need to hustle. I sleep well, an average of 7 hours in a day. I watch shows, I play video games. So as much as I'm doing so many things, I still find the time to really, live a wholesome life at the end of the day, because that's the whole point. You cannot just be living to work. You have to literally live your life to the fullest. So that's how I manage everything I do, and I hope I've answered that question. Yeah. So let's take another one. Welcome everyone. Feel free to put in your questions in the comments. Tell me what you like to know about me, about starting a freelance career, about starting a tech career, and I'll do my best to answer it. So let's take the second one. This person says, please tell me how you transitioned to tech and became a software engineer. And is software engineering the same as full stack engineering? Okay, that's a very good question. So let's see how I transitioned into tech. I would say I've always had a flair for engineering right from when I was young. I've always known that I would do something engineering. I studied mechanical engineering in university, and it was a very fulfilling career, even though we were doing more theory than practical engineering at that point. But I think I studied mechanical engineering, so I've always been involved in engineering. But it was my 4th or 5th year of study in uni. I knew that I don't think I want to work in an oil company. And as my African parents were, they couldn't really understand why I didn't want to work in an oil company or do something with the course that I studied. So I think after school, I just wanted to give myself, hi Simi, welcome to my live, my Instagram live. After school, I really just wanted to give myself enough time to discover what I wanted to do with myself, with my life. So after school, I started my jewelry business. I started making jewelry and I started taking photos. And that was even when I started, my freelancing journey, initially on Fiverr and then on Upwork. So all of these just helped me to really understand what I wanted to do for myself, as opposed to what society wanted me to do or what my parents wanted me to do. So that's how, I started freelancing. And on Upwork, I used to work as a UI designer and sales funnel expert. So clients would come to me and say they want to design a particular page. So this was my first pseudo introduction to, I would say, the field of engineering, knowing what software engineering was. I would design pages for them in Figma, UI design, and I'll convert it with a tool called ClickFunnels. So ClickFunnels was a drag and drop builder. I didn't need to learn how to code, but obviously I could customize a couple of things, right, with code, but I could really get far with just dragging and dropping. But then I realized that, okay, I think I want to know more about writing code and being able to develop things with, raw coding languages. So at that time, I just told my boyfriend, now husband, I told him that I wanted to learn how to write code and program. And he was really surprised when I told him, because we had never talked about me learning how to, write code at that time. But then I told him, and thankfully when I told him, which is why you have to always speak up if something is nudging on your heart. So when I told him, there was a particular coding bootcamp that the registration was on. I think when I told him, that was the final day that registration would be closing. After that day, there would be no registration open. So we both just, slugged it out and applied for the bootcamp. That was a 9-month coding bootcamp called Lambda School. So it was a full-time virtual coding bootcamp where will come every day on Zoom. Thankfully, I got accepted. This was in 2019. So thankfully, I got accepted into this coding bootcamp, and it was a very intense learning journey. I'm not even going to lie. It was really intense, waking up every day, going on Zoom. We have a lecturer who will just, teach us, explain. We start with HTML, then CSS, then JavaScript, and just going through that whole process every day for 9 solid months. It was no jokes. Hi, everyone. Thank you for joining. Feel free to comment if you have, any questions. So it wasn't funny, but I did my best to stay true to the course of my learning, journey. And the rest, they say, is history. 5 years after, I'm here working as a software engineer. So that was really how I started my journey as a software engineer, And looking back, I don't think I would have changed anything. I was very glad that I spoke up when I spoke up about wanting to learn, and even stayed committed to the journey, because it was a bit frustrating, but yeah, I stayed committed and I have no regrets. So the next question is software engineering the same as full stack engineering? All right, so no, the short answer, no. Software, I would say, is not the same as full stack engineering, and this is how I'll explain it. So software engineering is a very broad term, right? It's all encompassing. You know how people say, I'm a doctor, but as a doctor, you can be like an optician, you can be a dentist. There are different doctors for different parts of the body, right? So that's how software engineering is. Anyone can be a software engineer, but then when you start attaching things like full stack engineering, front end engineering, back end engineering, those are specifics. So for a front end engineer, let me break it down this way. As a front end engineer, you create websites and web applications that a user will interact with. So those that create the page that you see, those are front-end engineers. They create the buttons that you're able to, maybe if you want to click a form, or if you want to, click a button, submit a form. Those are front-end engineers, the people that deal with what a user interacts with on the front. Those are front-end engineers. Then back-end engineers are those that deal with what you cannot really see, like what's making that page show up, the API, the data on that page, things on the page. Hi everyone, welcome to my live session. Those are back-end engineers. They deal with databases, infrastructure, all of that. And then full stack engineers, they are people that can do both the front and the back. That's why they call them full stack. So front is like half of the equation. The back is like the second half. So full stack engineers are people that can do both. So as a software engineer, you can really have different fields. You can work as a cloud DevOps person, as a mobile app developer, a developer that, works on, builds applications like Instagram that we are using. So those are the different parts of what it entails, being a software engineer. But if you're interested in learning more about, different pathways, hi Sagan Douglas, welcome to the live session. If you're interested in learning more about different pathways of, tech, on my podcast, that's what I do. So, I interview different people that have delved into tech, machine learning, data analysts, product engineers, different people. So be sure to check out my podcast and watch their journeys and how they transitioned, and hopefully you'll be able to relate with one or two stories that will help you on your journey as well. All right, next question. Someone says, how did you manage to learn tech without giving up? JavaScript is frustrating me. All right, this is such a relatable question because I just shared about how I started my tech journey and how I had to commit to learning code for 9 months. The truth is that journey is not an easy journey at all. There are times that you want to quit, but I think one of the things that helped me on my journey was the community. So the Lambda School community, the bootcamp community that I was a part of, it was very strong. So if you had any questions, if the lecturer was even explaining something and I didn't really understand it, I could easily just, reach out to, we had team leads, reach out to my team lead or even ask my peers. So that's the whole point of having a community. One thing I'll say, if you want to get into tech, especially if it's a coding heavy, industry that you are looking to get into, have 1 or 2 or 3 people that you can always reach out to, because it's not an easy journey, especially if you're coming from a non-engineering field, right? Nothing engineering. You need someone that's one can hold you accountable, because if you're learning, there's a tendency that you probably would get unserious or just give up. So you need a community of friends that can keep you accountable, people that you can always ask questions because you always have questions to ask. So you need those kind of people around you, people that can encourage you. Those are some of the things you need. You also need to be able to ask questions. Thankfully, when I started my journey, we didn't have anything like ChatGPT and all of this AI tools. But now I think it's a lot more easier because you have tools like ChatGPT that can interact with you, that you can ask questions from, and that can help you understand the JavaScript syntax a lot more. So use tools like that to help you on your journey. And also, don't try to learn everything at the same time. I think a lot of times when people are starting learning how to code, they want to just, you buy a course or you register for a coding, challenge, or maybe you're watching a course on Udemy, Coursera, YouTube, whatever. You get a course and it seems like, there are different parts and you just want to, do this module 1, do module 2 without you actually building, right? You're just watching. The danger of doing that is that you start getting overwhelmed very quickly, right? Because the person is talking about concepts that you've not even practiced, you've not mastered, and person is talking about it so fluently, and you're looking at yourself and saying, oh my gosh, I still need to learn this, I still need to learn this, I still need to learn this. And if you're not careful, you can probably just give up at that point. So learn things little by little. Don't be in a haste to become a guru. Just take it one step at a time. Learn functions, learn hoisting, learn things little by little, and also practice as you're learning. So don't just sit down and watch all the tutorials, but practice. If you've learned one concept, practice 5, 6, 7 things. Tell ChatGPT to generate lessons or exercises for you on a particular concept. If you miss it, tell it, what did I miss? How can I improve this answer? Just practice a lot and build things. I think these are some of the things that help me. And at the end of the day, focus on your end goal, because your end goal is really what will keep you motivated when you feel like giving up. Because if your end goal is to get a high paying job that can help you take care of your family, yourself, that's a good end goal. If your end goal is to create impact, that's a good end goal. So for whatever end goal that you have, just keep your eyes on the prize. Just keep your eyes on the prize and stay motivated. These are some of the things that help. So hi everyone, feel free to drop your comments or your questions in the comments and I'll answer them. Also, let me know where you are at on your tech journey. Are you looking to get started with tech? Are you looking to get started as a freelancer? Are you already learning how to code? If you are, let me know how that is going for you. Let me know how that is going for you. How do I stay motivated? This question is from Nisa. How do I stay motivated? Okay. I would say I stay motivated by seeing the results and the impact I'm having. So for example, running the Freelance HQ, this has been, I think this is going to be the third year of actually starting the Freelance HQ. So, just seeing the impact I'm having on the lives of people make me stay motivated. Seeing the results, seeing what I could achieve on the other end helps me stay motivated. And regarding career, I think I stay motivated by still knowing how much I don't know. When I know a lot, but I still don't know a lot. And when I realize that there's still a gap that I have to fill, this motivates me to do better, to learn more, and to grow myself a lot more. So those are the ways I stay motivated. I hope I answered your question, Nisa. Next question someone has is, I studied public health and I want to learn a tech skill so I can work in health as a tech individual. For example, public health data analyst, but I don't know how to go about it. So that's the question this person has. How do they start, public health data analysis? So I like this question because I think this person has already, streamlined. People just say, I want to get into data analysis. I want to get into data analysis without necessarily streamlining. Data analysis is very broad, but this person has been able to, compare their current experience and, project into what they want to be. So that's why I like the fact that they're proactive. They've been able to identify that they want to be a public health data analyst, but they don't know how to go about it. So the first thing I'll say is, hi Mazam. Yeah, I think I remember you. I remember you. We worked together on Upwork, right? Yeah. Welcome to the live session. So the first thing is to research, do more research on what a public, health data analyst does. Hi, Mr. Femi. Welcome to my live session. It's good to have you. So the first thing, do research on what a public health data analyst does. So this research will help you understand when you get a job, what would be like your day-to-day, role, your day-to-day tasks. You need to understand, because a lot of people start without having the end in mind, but you need to start with the end in mind. So if you want to be a data analyst, what are the things you'll be required to know or be required to do? So do lots of research. I did a bit of research and I see that there's a lot of resources available for you out there to become a public health data analyst. And some of the things and tools you need to know to transition into data analysis is, you need to know how to use Microsoft Excel. That's like the basic tool that data analysts use. They know how to use Microsoft Excel, right, to query data, to analyze data. Also need to know how to use SQL. So SQL is structured query language. So you need to know how to use SQL to query data. Python is also another language that you need to know. Power BI and Tableau, these are tools that you'll be interacting with as a data analyst. So for whatever data analyst field, these are basic skills and tools that you need to learn and know. So like I mentioned earlier, when you're starting learning anything, don't try to learn everything at once. The secret to learning anything is breaking them into small parts, breaking them into small bits. So if today you're focusing on Microsoft Excel, I want to know how to use Microsoft Excel. watch videos, watch tutorials. If you want to sign up on, coding boot camps, a lot of coding boot camps like Old School, Utiva, University, they have data analysis programs that can run from like a week, couple of weeks to couple of months. So if that's a way you want to go, that's fine. If you want to learn it on your own, remember you also need to have a community of people that can keep you accountable. There are data analysts courses that you can take on YouTube for free. Like, people have actually done the work for you. All you need to do is consume it for free on YouTube. Just search like data analytics beginner course. You can search for that on YouTube and you see lots of playlists that you can begin to watch. You can also learn a lot of these things on places like Coursera. I actually searched and there's a public health data analyst course that you can take on Coursera, on Udemy. Obviously, these are paid platforms, but definitely go all the way to invest in yourself, because that's the most, that's the most investment that you can ever make. Like, that's the investment that can give you lots of proceeds, because any investment in yourself will always pay at the end of the day. So someone says, what about Salesforce? I'm certified already. So can I get more clarity on this? What do you mean by what about Salesforce? Do you mean Salesforce for data analytics, or what's your question about? Alrighty, so let's go. Okay, so this is another question. This person says, I do not know how to do I need to know how to code to work in tech? The thought of coding is very scary for me. All right, I get this question a lot of times, and the short answer is no. You do not need to know how to code to work in tech. I know we've talked a lot about coding, but software engineering, the roles in software engineering are not the only roles that you can get in tech. There are so many other non-coding tech career paths that you can take. So don't feel scared at all, about when people mention tech, they're thinking about, oh, I need to become a guru at writing code. No, you can do UI UX design. Okay, you can do UI UX design. UI UX design is just creating user interfaces on Figma, creating designs that developers will build out, basically. So that's UI UX design. Product design is very similar but more specific to a product. There's product management as well. Tech sales, you can become a technical sales expert, a technical writer. So these are some of the roles that do not necessarily involve writing code. A knowledge of code, maybe you may need to have a knowledge of code or coding concepts, right? But you do not have to write code. So if you are a tech sales expert, for example, and you're selling a software, obviously need to have basic understanding of how the software works, but you will never be writing code, or you will hardly ever be writing code. So these are parts that you can consider, and a lot of these parts are high paying as well. Yeah, so not every job in tech requires you to be a coding guru. So Multi, you said you're a certified Salesforce administrator and you're looking for remote roles that offer sponsorship. Okay, so that's a good question. So are you saying, let me see, like you're trying to get a remote role but you're a Salesforce administrator? I think the first thing is, how much are you learning in public? Because these days, a lot of times people think that your resume is all that matters. Your resume is just a small fraction of what really matters for you to get a job, especially a job that is going to offer you sponsorship, right? That's like not just a remote role. They must know that you're really good. So how exactly are you proving to them that you're really good? What have you built? Have you built projects, right? Are you working or learning in public? For example, are you active on LinkedIn? Do you have a LinkedIn profile? These are some of the things that will position you better to land those remote jobs. In your application, are you applying properly? Are you tailoring your applications to be very, targeted to that particular role that you're applying for? For example, look for Salesforce administrators. What are the specific roles, the specific tasks that you'll be doing on that role. So look for different companies that have Salesforce administrator, careers open or roles open. customize your resume to be very specific to that particular company that you're applying for. So if you have 5 different companies, customize it there, and also make sure that you have a LinkedIn profile, an optimized LinkedIn profile that positions you as a Salesforce administrator. Salesforce is a very good tool that a lot of companies are using these days. So I would say the short answer is just position yourself properly, because if a company is looking to offer you sponsorship, then you must be a big deal in their site. Like, you can't just be a regular person. You have to have something outstanding that you've done. You have to put in that extra effort. So you say you have a LinkedIn profile, but you've not built any projects. So, like, why would you not have built a project, or why would you have done something that people want to see? So that's, like, I would say, the first step that you should take if you're looking for a remote role that will offer sponsorship for you. All right, let's go. I hope that was helpful. Yeah, you're welcome. Okay, so let's see which other question. Let's see. Okay, so this person says, how can I become a technical writer? Yeah, so I've gotten that question. So sometimes when I share the non-coding career options, right, people are interested in technical writing, and then they're like, okay, how exactly can I become a technical writer? So the first thing is, for any role or for any industry, if you're curious, the first thing is to do some research. So Google is always your friend. You can always ask Google or ChatGPT, okay, what exactly do technical writers do? What would be my day-to-day role, or tasks as a technical writer? So technical writers, I would say, they are those people that are in charge of writing what developers or technical audiences will consume. So I've worked as a technical writer before, and my tasks were, I used to write blog articles, right, that would be useful for developer audiences or technical audiences, and even a bit of documentation. So as a technical writer, you do not necessarily need to know how to code, but you have to have basic understanding of technical concepts. So HTML, for example, do you know what it is, right? What is HTML? So you have to have that knowledge, because you also still be, bear in mind, as much as you are not coding, you are interacting with technical audiences. So you don't need to be an HTML expert or, understand the language 100%, but you need to have basic understanding to be able to communicate accurately when you're writing. You also need to be able to write clearly or concisely as a technical writer. So what I mean is, you need to be able to explain things very succinctly in a way that is not confusing, using the least amount of words. So as a technical writer, I remember I got books that will help me. There was a book I got on writing well, and Nicely Said. These are books that I had to read to be able to adequately express myself, using the right grammar, using the right words, knowing how to structure my thoughts, using headings, subheadings, bullet points, right punctuation. These are things that can help you. You can also take courses to learn how to write properly. So I know Google has a technical writing course that I think is free. I'm not too certain, but I know Google has that. Udemy, if you search Udemy, there are lots of technical writing courses that you would see. So go, as much as you may like writing, but technical writing has a particular feel. You need to be able to structure things well, and also read. Don't just focus on yourself. Go ahead to read other writers, like read their articles, read blog articles for developers, read articles that have been written by technical writers, learn from them, learn new vocabulary from them. These are ways that you can become a technical writer. And finally, like I said, for a company to hire you, you need to have things that you've done. You need to have projects that they've seen that you've worked on. So projects are very important for whatever field that you are in. You need to have projects that you've done, portfolio pieces. So if you're a technical writer and you've sorted how to write, you can just pick a particular topic for yourself. Maybe how 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 to pick, what will I say, how software engineers can, pick the perfect language to learn as a beginner. Maybe something like that. How beginners can pick the perfect language to learn to become software engineers. So just, understanding what software engineering is can be like a heading, the different options, what the different languages entail, and then conclusion. So those are ways to break down, a project that you take up. So just ensure that whatever field you are, you have projects that you've worked on. All right, I hope this has been helpful. So Multi, you talked about not having a LinkedIn. You have a LinkedIn profile but not having built projects. I also have my Get a Job toolkit. So if you're interested in it, I'm running a 50% discount that ends tomorrow. So that's just about 24 hours. So go to my link in bio and get any of my products. That will help you optimize your LinkedIn profile and send tailored applications to every job that you're applying for. So let me know, do you have any other further questions? I think that's all. I've run through everything I have here. Do you have any further questions? Hi Oluyede, hi BB, hi everyone, thanks for joining my live session. I hope this has been very helpful. We just ran through different questions that a lot of people had about tech, about starting a tech career, and I hope this has been helpful. Should I do this often? Let me know. Is this something you would like to see me do often? And I also have my coaching program for the month of October out now. So if you like to be coached one-on-one, you like me to coach you one-on-one on any aspect, whether interviewing, applying for jobs, picking a tech career that is specific to your experience, let me know. Yes, please, for what? Douglas, yes, please, for what? Okay, for me coming live, I guess that's the answer. For me coming live regularly. So Oluyede, you said, why is the tech field so saturated? That's a good question. I think almost every industry is really saturated, but I think tech, for obvious reasons, probably people want to make money, and tech is right now the one of the highest paying industries. So that's like the most obvious reason I think tech is very saturated right now. And I think also the fact that a lot of tech roles allow you to work remotely. For example, myself, I work remotely, work from home fully. That's also a kind of lifestyle that people love. Not everyone likes commuting, going to work, driving, catching buses to go to work. They want an easier lifestyle. So these are some of the perks that come with working in tech, and why I think it's also very saturated. Are you currently looking to join any field? Or why did you ask the question? I'm curious. Are you looking to become, a techie? Are you looking to join any field right now? Software engineering or technical writing career, which would one settle for? That's a good question. I can't tell you settle for this. It really depends on what you're interested in, right? It depends on your experience. It depends on really what you want at the end of the day. Software engineering is, I explained earlier how it's like a broad name for a particular broad name that's, in software engineering, there are different parts of software engineering. For me, I'm more into the front-end engineering things. So you need to understand what they really are and what you are interested in doing, because at the end of the day, everything boils down to you. No one should tell you what you need to do. You really need to decide for yourself. So they are both good career paths, so it depends on what you want to do at the end of the day, and they're both very well paying as well. Depends on what you want to do at the end of the day. All right. Any other questions you have? Yeah, I'll try to do this often. I studied computer science as my undergraduate. Just noticed so much. just noticed so much boot camps teaching tech. All the boot camp graduates complete with us with or compete with us with funny enough, you studied computer science, so you have an edge because a lot of companies hiring maybe software engineers, for example, will tell you that, if you have a computer science or engineering related background, is an added, is a plus. So yeah, definitely computer science is a very good course, and a lot of people, when you have computer science backgrounds, it kind of helps them. It's easier for you to start a software engineering field, because I believe that that's like the bedrock, that's the foundation for software engineering. So you have an edge. The thing is that as much as there's competition, there are lots of opportunities as well. I think a lot of times people don't just position themselves right. Like, you want to get a job, and the only thing that makes you want to get a job, or the only thing that you feel that will get you a job, is your resume. Like, that's not possible. Your resume alone can't get you a job. Like, expect if it was working maybe in early 2000s, in the 90s, your resume alone can't get you a job in this 2024 job market that we are, because everyone, or almost everyone, can package on their resume. But then when it comes to, okay, what projects have you worked on, how your soft skills, right? And do you even have things that people can see that you've done, right? These are the things that will stand you out from the competition out there. A lot of people just say, oh, I'm a software engineer, but no one can see what you've done. Why would I want to hire you? Yeah. Alrighty, I think we've spent almost 45 minutes on our live session. I didn't want this to be too long, so that people can always go back to watch it. But thank you everyone for joining. For as many people that joined, I know I had people come and go, but this was very much fun for me, and I hope it was fun for you as well. Because when I put this on my feed, if you can just go back on the this particular post on my feed, and just put a comment on what you learned or something. Just put a comment on what you learned and how, this live session was for you. Thank you so much for everyone joining, and hopefully, fingers crossed, I'll see you in another one. Yeah, till another time. Bye. And don't forget about my discounts happening. 50% discounts on all my products, closing tomorrow. So you have just about 24 hours left to get it. Till next time. See ya. Bye, everyone.